Remember when you had to actually be somewhere at an exact time because there was no way to call and say you were running late? That feeling of wonder mixed with adrenaline lives in a part of your brain that younger people simply don't have. You carry psychological infrastructure built by a world that demanded you show up or lose out. And that infrastructure still shapes how you move through life today, even though the world that created it has completely vanished. You knew every single word on the music album because you had nothing else to listen to for 3 months until you could afford another one. It's so funny to think of it now, but you absorbed entire albums deep into your mind. The lyrics, the sequence, the silence between tracks, the exact moment when the drums kicked in on track 7. Those albums form so much of your identity. Repeated engagement with limited options might sound like a bad thing, but it actually taught you to value items and people. Today in my world, the value of things is lost, precisely because of unlimited options. Do I envy you? Yes, but with white envy. You just went outside and found your people, and that was it, the only reality on Earth. Now we live in a double reality world, physical and virtual, but you were a teen when no parallel dimension existed for you to perform a different version of yourself for invisible audiences. No second layer of existence hummed beneath the physical world, tracking your moves and thoughts and preferences. Social media as a concept that didn't exist. What a heaven on earth should have that been? You lived in one world only. When you wanted to connect with someone, you had to occupy the same physical space as them, breathe the same air, make actual eye contact, read their face. Your teenage brain got built entirely in this single layer existence, and that changes everything about how you process connection, trust, presence, and authenticity today. So you got fluent in a language of realism. You lived with the consequences of commitment because backing out, flaking, or seeing how you felt later meant actually letting people down in a way they'd remember and hold against you. Your teenage brain learned accountability through pure necessity. You developed the psychological muscle of following through because the alternative was social death. And this created something researchers are now studying intently. An internal sense of obligation that exists independent of external reminders and notifications. You showed up because you said you would, and that simple equation built neural pathways around reliability and self-governance that still fire today, even in a world where everyone else has been trained to keep their options open until the last possible second. You can walk into any situation without a plan and figure it out as you go, because improvisation was just how you lived. No GPS meant you got lost and had to ask strangers for directions, or read actual maps, or just drive around until you recognized something. No Google map also meant you picked restaurants by gut instinct, or because the parking lot looked busy. No online reviews meant you bought things, tried things, went places based on intuition, word of mouth, or pure blind faith. Your brain got trained in adaptive problem solving through constant exposure to uncertainty, and this built a specific kind of confidence that is called tolerance for ambiguity. You're comfortable not knowing exactly what's going to happen because you spent your formative years in situations where nobody knew exactly what was going to happen. You learned to trust yourself to handle whatever emerged. You developed the psychological flexibility to pivot, adjust, make do, figure it out on the fly. And you still carry this capacity today. You can operate without complete information, without perfect certainty, without needing to research and optimize and review every single decision before committing to it. You can sustain actual friendships through long silences because you learned that connection doesn't require constant contact. Your best friend could move across the country and you'd talk maybe once a month, write a few letters, and then pick right back up when you saw each other at Thanksgiving like no time had passed. Distance didn't kill relationships because relationships weren't built on daily Instagram story views. They were built on shared history and the accumulation of real experiences together. Your brain developed an understanding that people can care about you without liking your posts, that friendship exists independent of visible engagement, that love doesn't need constant proof through digital breadcrumbs. This gives you something powerful: the ability to maintain meaningful bonds without needing them to perform constantly for you. This psychological reality makes you better at weathering the natural ebbs and flows of human connection without panicking that silence means abandonment. And you know what's one of the strangest psychological artifacts of your 80s adolescence? You grew up information poor, but knowledge rich. You had maybe 3 TV channels, 1 newspaper, a handful of radio stations, and whatever books you could get your hands on. This scarcity forced your brain to do something powerful. It had to synthesize and imagine beyond what was given. Your prefrontal cortex, still under construction during those teenage years, got trained in creative extrapolation. This scarcity mindset around information created hunger. You consumed culture voraciously because you never knew when you might encounter it again. You watched the same shows at the same time as millions of other people because television happened communally, on a schedule that nobody controlled individually. This synchronous consumption created genuine, shared cultural reference points. When you talk about that one episode of that one show, other 80s kids know exactly what you mean. Same commercials, same cliffhangers, same collective gasp when that thing happened. This shared experience base created cultural cohesion, a sense of belonging to a generation with actual common ground. You can have an entire conversation without once checking your phone because undivided attention was the only kind that existed. When you sat across from someone at a diner booth, in a parked car, on someone's front steps, your focus stayed locked on them because there was literally nothing else competing for it. No vibrating pocket, no phantom notifications, no other conversations happening simultaneously in your hand. You learned sustained attention through thousands of hours of face-to-face interaction, where looking away meant rudeness, where presence was binary. Either you were there, or you weren't. You developed the neural stamina for deep conversation, for following complex threads without interruption, for reading someone's emotional shifts in real time and adjusting your responses accordingly. I'm amazed by your capacity to be fully with another person, without part of your consciousness monitoring other channels. You can still drop into that mode, give someone your complete attention for an hour straight, track the nuances of what they're saying and not saying, because your brain knows how to do singular focus as its default state, not as some special mindfulness achievement. So yeah, the world is now quick and flexible, but there are things that only slow life and boredom can teach. Thank you for listening, folks.